If it's not already obvious to you that the race for payments is on, we have another crypto competitor throwing their hat in the ring. We also did that video yesterday. It was an XRP video talking about how Trump had kind of made these comments that the US financial payment system is out of date. It's running on 20, 30, 40, even 50-year-old rails, and it needs to be brought into the 21st century. And of course, crypto companies are hearing this loud and clear, and there are so many people making moves to start to try and take advantage and take a share of this incredibly large payments market. So I want to talk about that today. Today we are talking about Keeta. Keeta has officially announced a brand new development that we have seen, that they are now they've got essentially their test dashboard out for payments, a whole payments ecosystem. We actually saw XRP release theirs earlier this week on the XRP ledger. I mean, I'm telling you guys, this is the gold rush. I think we are going to see multiple billions, possibly even trillions being made out of this whole, payments network gold rush. Again, I'm not insinuating that that is going to all accrue to one particular asset. It might, but I don't actually think that's realistically the case. I think we will probably see a small collective of winners within the space, similar to what we've seen out of like Visa and MasterCard and American Express within the credit card space. So first off, I want to take a quick look at the Keeta chart, see where we're at right now, and then also go over some of the details of some of the news that we have seen, and then continue along from there. Again, stay through to the end of this video because we do have a whole bunch of jam-packed information coming in here. I would also love to hear your thoughts and opinions on Keeta, just how you feel about it. Do you think it's good? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's not? All this type of good stuff. But first off, let's just jump in. We'll get straight into the charts. We can see here a little bit of just kind of some jumping around here for Keeta. Not really a whole lot going on. We haven't really we can see that the history of Keeta is relatively new. So we saw a nice little run up while the market was good. But again, we've kind of had this double top formation, haven't really been able to break over this like $1.70 range. You can see we've actually come all the way back down to about 90 cents where we're breaking right now. We've got a little bit of like a teeny tiny, let me actually change this. I've got a little bit of like a teeny tiny kind of like wedge situation forming here. Again, very, very small, not really super macro, but you can kind of see loosely what we're getting at here. Now, overall, again, we haven't really been in like a really super bearish market since the Keeta token has been live, and it's a really, really small market cap. And so I think that there is a high possibility, particularly with the comments being made, that we could see this kind of like payments frenzy start to kick off. And that of course could lead to a really, really strong really strong crypto narrative surrounding that. I do think XRP would kind of be the one to capture most of the attention there, as they already kind of have most of that attention, but that there is going to be space for some of these smaller players to potentially benefit from some of that. And Keeta, as we'll look at later on in the video, is a very, very small crypto token. So seeing a 10 to 100x is not completely unreasonable, at least in my opinion. Of course, this is just my opinion. You should do your own research before you look to make any sort of investment decisions, through other methods. So here we can see this is the actual announcements from Keeta. We have the FX demo anchor. It's now complete. We can also explore the new swap functionality with built-in fiat exchange rates, which is pretty cool. You also can see new token labels indicate green for verified tokens in our registry and yellow for tokens that should be handled with caution. So I think this is really interesting. You can see some screenshots here in terms of what, are you buying real cash? Are you buying tokens? What are you doing here? Here's the rate, here's the cost, all of this type of good stuff. So really interesting here to see kind of exactly how this works, and some screenshots in terms of the test that they have done here. So I am very interested to see kind of, again, how can Keeta do in terms of adopting market share here? Because again, this payments thing is going to be insane. But of course, you need to have people that are actually using your product in order for you to capture that value. So XRP Ledger, Keeta, others, all of them are really going to have to push to see, can they actually draw volume on the exchanges? Now, of course, I haven't really seen, just based on the setup that we've got here, haven't really seen a great entry point. Maybe down here could have been a decent one because it's been a somewhat okay level of support here. I think right now it's a much better place to buy, of course, obviously, than what we might see up here. But I do think, short of maybe coming back down to this 38 cent range, there's not really like an exact clear bottom here. Again, like I said, maybe we saw it kind of towards the bottom here at the 70-cent range, but again, it's really hard to say for sure. So I haven't really seen many plays. However, if you do follow along on the channel, you will know that we're always making plays where they present themselves and just being patient and not trying to overtrade. Here you can see we are still in this Athena trade. It's actually jumped a very substantial amount over the past several hours. You can see here up about 337%. It does look right now like we are kind of bouncing off this level of resistance that we've seen several times before. So I might be looking to at least secure some profit, maybe even exit the full position here. We'll have to see. I think most likely outcome is I'll probably secure about half profit and then maybe look to set a stop loss down around this 71-cent range. Probably seems like the most likely outcome for me right now. Now, if you are interested, of course, I do have all of those exchange links and everything in the description below. As you can see, I was using Weex. I do also have links to BloFin and BTCC. BTCC does currently have the best offer with a 10% bonus on first-time deposits. So if you are interested and want to capture some free money, that would be a really great way to do so. You do have to use the links in the description below, as they are the affiliate links that are kind of linked to these offers. So if you're interested, of course, feel free to use that. Now, moving along, we can see here, this is a post from Money Lord, Keeta is the only layer 1 blockchain truly optimized for high throughput, has publicly demonstrated more than 10 million transactions per second with less than 400 millisecond latency in collaboration with Google Cloud. We have actually seen Google Cloud post about the Keeta network as well, which is interesting. Also backed by Eric Schmidt, who's the former CEO of Google. So again, lots of Google ties going on here. You can see it's very undervalued here. Billions should come soon when on-chain liquidity starts flowing. Of course, this is fairly obvious given that value will come to basically any protocol that is able to draw on-chain liquidity and volume and things like that. But this is essentially kind of speaking to what we're seeing in the overall space, which is payments is big business. Payments is really going to be something, in my opinion, that does quite well. And if we look at Keeta in particular, as of right now, sitting about a $376 million market cap. So very, very small market cap. We could see that they have some really, really strong potential here coming on into the future. But again, it's crypto, it's risky. We never know for sure. Of course, they would need to see kind of some capturing of the payments and the transaction volume in that market in order to kind of realize some, insane gains from there. But if you think about like XRP being close to a $200 billion market cap, if we saw this coin 100x, that would put us at a $30 billion market cap, still a small fraction, almost a tenth of the size of XRP. And if we go look here, you can actually see this chart right now. We have the market cap here and then kind of the price. We can see kind of the double top I was referring to. This is of course super important, right? Again, 100x here gets us to 30 billion. So that is something that in my opinion, I'm looking very, very closely at. We can also see on Base. Base, in my opinion, is going to be a sleeper in terms of where a ton of on-chain volume goes. And the fact that Keeta is based on Base, I think is going to be a very, very interesting thing and could actually have kind of some tailwinds for them just from kind of that overall ecosystem lift, if I am correct in assuming that Base will actually do well and draw a decent bit of volume. So overall, that's kind of the review that we have today and some of the news that we have coming from the Keeta ecosystem. Again, I really am interested to see how payments play out. I think Keeta is a very, very interesting one to watch because of the small market cap relative to the absolutely massive market caps that we have seen playing in this space. So again, this is one I would pay close attention to, and then from there we can kind of, we'll just have to see how it goes. But overall, we haven't really been in a super risk on market since we've seen Keeta launch. Now, of course, we've seen a really, really nice run up on Keeta from we'll go actually back to the chart here, from about March to June. You could see a really kind of staggering run up. But I think that this is something where we could actually see, this is actually almost 100x just from March to June, right? So really impressive move there. We'll have to see kind of what goes on next from here. I do think, as I mentioned, possibly another 100x is possible. I would not call it likely though, however. So anyway, overall, hopefully you found the information in this video useful. If you did, of course, a like and a subscribe does help. You also can turn on the notification bell so we can stay up to date with all of these different types of cryptos if you are interested. Also, if you have any comments, questions, anything like that, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Keeta, on my whole kind of payments network theory, on my base theory, all of this type of stuff. I have a lot of thoughts. I'd love to hear your opinions in terms of kind of how I'm viewing it and if you agree. So also, thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.